Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario. This right here is my dog, Lily, and this that you're watching is episode 40, I guess, of Thrifty Gaming Pickups. I'm your host, Mr. Mario, and this is a series I like to do on my second channel. My main channel is going to be linked down below in the description. It is Mr. Mario 2011, but it's just a series where I like to kind of show off all the little games and consoles and gaming related things I get with my dog Lily right here. She's been in every single episode. So this is, as you can see, a pretty small, light load compared to other ones. So hopefully it'll make for a somewhat quick episode, I guess. I don't know. Let's see how long this is going to take. But I'll go ahead and give Lily a treat. Lily. There you go. Taking it all gently and stuff. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to sit down here on the floor with Lily and go over some of the deals that I ended up getting on these games here. Now, I actually ended up going to a swap meet, went to a few thrift stores, and surprisingly, a few GameStops. So that's what we're going to be looking into. Lily, I'll just need you to move a little bit or something. I don't know. She's eating. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and get into this here. So, you know what? I'm going to cover the Game Boy related stuff here first of all. You good, Lily? You good? Alright. So I'm going to cover the Game Boy related stuff here. I'll actually give you a treat here, Lily, if you want another one. There we go. Eat it just right next to the games. Alright, cool. So, as you can see, this is something a little bit different because I normally don't get, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, which is all three of them. I normally don't get that stuff on here. And I normally don't really look for these, but I was actually traveling a little bit, and I decided to pick a few of these up. So the funny thing is, when I was traveling, I did go to a swap meet a couple of times, and I did go to a few different thrift stores, and these are the only games I got while I was traveling, which worked out real well because I was trying to pack, I was trying to pack lightly, and I still wanted to look around a little bit, but I didn't really want to fill up my luggage with, any type of cases like that. So all this stuff, it just fit inside a little tiny bag, and then I put that in a bag, So anyways, the stuff we got here, first of all, I end up getting these two at the same time. I end up getting them from one particular seller at this swap meet, and as you can see, I have never owned this game actually. This is Grand Theft Auto on the original Game Boy. Now unfortunately I didn't really notice this until after I'd gotten a hold of it, but right here you can see the actual cartridge casing itself is kind of chipped there, and I'm hoping the board is okay. It looks to be, I can't tell if that's warped or not, I don't know. I haven't opened this, so I hope it's all okay. But I didn't notice until after I got back from the swap meet and everything, and I said, oh, I'm gonna have to be real careful with that. So hopefully it all works out, but I have never played this, I've never owned it. I actually had Grand Theft Auto 2 on Game Boy Color, and then I think I sold that unfortunately, but I've never played the first one on Game Boy. And I also end up getting Max Payne on the Game Boy Advance. Now, I have played this before. I actually rented it, believe it or not. There is a store which is I think it's dead now completely, but called Hastings, and they were I think they were the only rental place I've ever seen that rented out Game Boy Advance games. So I actually rented this for the Game Boy Advance back in the day, and then I was disappointed because it was nothing like the PlayStation 2 or Xbox versions. But now I kind of want to go back and try it out and just see, how much of how nice of an adaptation will this be, going from, the sixth generation of consoles to something that would be Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo-ish, essentially. I ended up getting both of these two combined for $15, so I didn't mind paying that much for, both Rockstar games that I didn't have and that I wanted to try out, at least these particular versions of them. Next up, the second time I went to the swap meet, I ended up getting these two together, and how do I say it? I guess they didn't have a particular price on them. Like these ones, they were all individually priced. Originally, it was going to be $7 for this and set $10 for one of them, and then I just asked $15 for the both. These ones, we actually end up going to a vendor who was primarily dealing with foreign money and cards, and baseball cards, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, all that stuff. And then he just had a binder or two full of games like this. And I ended up finding these two. These were 2 for $5. So owned this game a long time ago. I actually, funny enough, I think I left it in my dad's car that he ended up trading in, and this was like almost 20 years ago now, so completely lost at that point. Never had it again. It's not a particularly good game, but I absolutely love Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's still my favorite childhood cartoon, I would say. So I saw this, I said, you know what, I'm gonna grab it, and then I was just looking for one other game, and I ended up finding this, probably my favorite one out of the Game Boy Advance games they had. They had the Sega Smash Pack for Game Boy Advance. Never owned this on Game Boy Advance, but let's go ahead and try it out. So again, 2 for $5, could not complain there. And that was all the stuff I got at the swap meet. So I also, one of the last days I was on vacation, ended up dropping by a Savers, and I found all of these, and you know, the prices seemed to be okay on them, and I decided to pick them up. So first of all, I got Super Mario Land for the original Game Boy. Now this might actually be a duplicate I have. I might have it, or I might have the second one. I think I actually own the second one. I need to put all the Game Boy games I have inside my spreadsheet, which is going to be like, it's not that many, to be honest. I just need to find them and then track them down. But anyways, I ended up getting this right here, Super Mario Land, for $8. This is kind of an odd one here, Looney Tunes Marvin Strikes Back, something that people would not be gunning after, but I saw this and got excited because I actually remember buying this on the Game Boy. Like, I remember buying this game, and then I played it on my Game Boy Advance, thought it was really fun, really enjoyed it, eventually sold it when I was a kid, but I saw this, I said, you know what, I'm going to grab it for $4, so can't complain on that either. And then this was another one I know I did not have, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past with 4 Swords. Now, as you can see, the label itself isn't really in the best shape, but it seems to be legitimate and it should work and all that fun stuff. And this is the most expensive one at $15, but that actually seemed to be okay for this. So yeah, unfortunately, they weren't going to be like $3, $4 games, but again, these were a few games where I was like, you know what, I am interested in actually playing these and picking them up and everything, so I don't mind that. But anyways, those were all the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color games I got. So Lily, maybe you'll like these. Maybe you can learn a little bit. I don't know. Let me get you another. Here you go, Lily. All right, she's going to eat right there. All good. Now, let's go to the other games I got here. As you can see, I got a few stacks of games, and these games I end up getting from, well, all of them I got from GameStop. The remainders you're going to see are from GameStop, and they were on different types of sales. So this one was a GameStop that was going out of business. Now, I end up going there when... probably when they were running their sales for like a week or two, something like that. And all their Xbox 360 stuff was half off. So I saw Call of Juarez Bound in Blood. It is complete, and it did not... no, it had everything. It is complete is what I was saying. But all their Xbox 360 stuff was, well, the games specifically, was half off. So I ended up paying $5 for this. Not a bad price in my opinion. Next up, I ended up going to another GameStop that was going out of business. So their Xbox 360 stuff was half off. So I paid about $3.50 for Ridge Racer 6. $15 for Fable Anniversary. I've actually been waiting to get this, and this is complete. It is in great condition. It has the slip cover, it has everything, and it was finally at a price point I wanted, because this sells for, I think it originally came out for $40, and I never picked it up, and now it sells, it's actually kept its value pretty well, but it sells for like $30 or so. I didn't really want to pay $30 for it, so I've just been waiting, and $15, I was cool paying for that. Now, I also got a few Wii games as well in this whole haul, and this game, Pikmin, I was surprised to see I did not have it. I had it at one point on GameCube, sold it, but I do not have it on the Wii, so I decided to pick it up. So I've never owned the Wii version. Their Wii stuff, they bundled in with the Wii U stuff, which was all 40% off, so I paid a little bit more. But this is, again, one of those games, I think it came out for 40 or 50 bucks on the Wii, I want to say. And then it became a player's choice game when it was really hard to find, so it was like $30, something like that. And it's kept its value real well, both Pikmin 1 and 2. Pikmin 2 is more valuable from what I've seen. Like, even so, the point where when I worked at a game shop nearly 10 years, wow. No, I can safely say 10 years ago I was working at a game store. We were selling sometimes like Pikmin 2 disc only, the GameCube version, but we would sell that disc only for like 40 or 50 bucks, and people bought it. So people were really wanting it. But anyways, I ended up paying $18 for this. So good to have on hand. And then for this guy right here, Monster Hunter Try, this was a $7 game, so I ended up paying a little over $4. I want to say it was like $4.19, something like that. But I have never played this, Monster Hunter 3. Never ever played it. Oh, this is the other thing I was going to mention. I did notice it at all until I came back, but when I came back, I saw it was a little bit moldy here, so I am going to try and experiment to see if I can get that off without using chemicals or using very little chemicals. I pretty much just have to, I tried to put it out in the sun, but the problem is it's still cold and the sun is kind of limited right now because it was like January when I was doing this, early January. So unfortunately, I'm just going to have to wait until it gets much hotter outside. So probably during the summer, this will just be a thing where I'll just put outside for a few days and see what it can do. But yeah, about $4 for this. So there we go. Those were all my games I got from GameStop, at least on the ones that were closing. So 50% off for the Xbox 360 stuff, 40% off for the Wii stuff. And I've thought of going back to some of the GameStops, but I don't think I will. Just due to the fact that even when I went there, I was pretty much picking up the stuff that I was interested in. So the PS4, the Switch stuff was pretty cleared out. 3DS pretty cleared out. Vita, PS4, Xbox One, I didn't really see anything I was that interested in. I might go back though, but then all the older stuff that was already, half off, I kind of picked up what I saw and what I wanted. So there's not really too much of a reason for me to go back. And they're not accepting returns or any, any trade-ins or any sales. Like they're not buying anything. So their inventory is just depleting right now. Right, Lily? So yeah, here is the last stack I end up getting, and this was a completely different sale that I was getting right here. These I kind of got a little bit of everything. I end up getting a Wii game, a few 360 games, and of course some Vita titles that I was looking into getting. So this was all from a buy two get two free sale. Again, I felt pretty content on like Switch. You good? I felt pretty content on like Switch, PS4, Xbox One stuff, so I even looked around a little bit and wasn't really seeing all too much. Now, I will say, I'm going to say this a little bit different because even though it's buy two get two free, the way they end up ringing it up, it evens out to buy two get two free, but the prices are a little bit wonky on here, and you'll see what was going on. So anyways, just kind of going down the list here. This Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. Never played this on the Vita, but I end up paying $13.49 for this, originally a $15 game. Akiba's Beat. Never played this either. Seems like it'd be interesting. This ended up being a free game, originally $14.99, so $15. Conception 2, Children of the Seven Stars. I have seen this all over the place and never ever played it, so I guess I'll give it a shot. This was a $10 game, by the way. And it's really hard to find Vita stuff in GameStops now because they actually, for the last year or so, they've kind of stopped displaying it. So if you don't see Vita stuff at a GameStop, that doesn't mean they don't have it. You just have to ask if they have it. And typically what they do is they begrudgingly print off a list and have you go through the list. And then you say, I want to look at these games, and they pull them out from behind the shelf. And most of the time, they don't have the original artwork and cases and everything. So it was really nice getting these here. But again, going on this was a $10 game, and I paid $4.50 for it. Next up, Rise of Nightmares. I actually tried this out before, thought it was pretty interesting, so whenever I fire up a Kinect again, I'll play it. But because of how everything adds up, I really didn't get a discount on this. I ended up paying $4.50 for it, so I guess, yeah, that pro member price, because I did use my friend's pro membership, but yeah. Oh, and that was another thing I forgot to mention. With all these games right here, the prices I gave you, that was it. Because the GameStops that are going out of business, you can't even do your pro membership there. Not that I have one, I bum off one of my friends, but still. And even so, now you don't get the 10% off anymore, unfortunately. They've changed that up. But at the time when I bought these, they were still doing the 10% off. So the GameStops that were going to stay open, you could still get your 10% off, but the ones that were closing, no discounts, no stacking, none of that. The price you get after the discount is what you get, and that's it. So right here, next game, never played this, never owned it, so I think it'll be an interesting Atlas release. The Cursed Crusade. And I end up paying about $4.50 for this, so $4.49 right there. Tales of Vesperia. So this is one of those games, one of my best friends, Sean, he is really into the Tales series, absolutely loves them, and I think it was Tales of Symphonia on GameCube. I still have yet to really delve into them, but I remember when I picked that up at one point, he just freaked out, and he's like, dude, that was one of the most surprising games we ever bought. And I asked what he meant, and he said, well, you know, I was with my older brother, we were traveling, and we ended up finding it somewhere like on the road as we were traveling. And we said, you know what, this looks interesting, let's pick it up on GameCube. And then he said him and his brother played through and they thought it was one of the best games ever. So I remember him freaking out and absolutely loving this in high school when he picked it up. But I still have yet to play it. But I will say, just an observation, the people who love the Tales series absolutely fuck with the Tales series. Like, they go hard for it. It is crazy how much love they have for it. But anyways, the price. I end up paying $4.50 for this, after discounts and such. Here's another game that I've been waiting on as well. The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Enhanced Edition. Yeah, this actually got a port on the Xbox 360. Funny enough, all the Witcher games are on the Xbox platform. I believe when this was coming out, it never got a physical release, but when Witcher 2 was coming out, The Witcher actually released as a digital-only title on the 360, and then of course Witcher 2 came out, and it doesn't look nearly as good as the PC release, but it's absolutely impressive for how it looks. And plus, it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, so the Xbox One really cleans it up. And then, of course, Witcher 3 is on there. But anyways, I had never owned this game. I saw it and decided to pick it up in all of this, especially because it was complete. The only downside was the case right here is a little bit busted. But for this here, I'm just kind of referencing my receipt. This was one of the games that ended up kind of mathing out to nothing. So, originally a $15 game, paid nothing for this. And the last one here, never played this game, never owned it, but it was one of the 3 Xseed RPGs that I know was really being pushed to come out here and be localized in the US. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the 3 games that people wanted were Xenoblade Chronicles, Last Story, and Pandora's Tower. I want to say that's the it was either Project Rainfall or Operation Rainfall. That was the pretty much social media campaign where people were saying these games are coming out on the Wii in Japan, we want them localized. So I'm pretty sure those are the 3 games. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the Last Story, I believe, was the final one of those to come out. And this was another one, it kind of held its value pretty well. It's not complete, unfortunately, because it does have the booklet. These are all in great shape for the most part, too. But it does have the disc, of course, in the booklet. The disc is in great shape. But it also had a slip cover, which did not come with it. But it's all good. It's still pretty much complete to me, and I want to play it. But yeah, this was a $30 game. And because of the math and everything, I just end up paying the $26.99. But again, because of how it all worked out, I still end up getting buy 2 get 2 free with all the math. So I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's still evened out. Anyways, that has been it. I didn't get any consoles this time around. I didn't, because I've been trying to be good about that, all right? But either way, these were all the games that I ended up picking up recently, and you know, I'd say this was an interesting GameStop only savers and swap meet haul. So yeah. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. If you didn't like it, that's totally fine. You're just gonna make this dog very, very sad. But before we do that, actually, if you made it to the very end, I have one, and I'm thinking of it right now, and I meant to show it in like 2 or 3 hauls ago, and I kept forgetting, but I guess if you made it to the very end, I can show you all right here. This, another Game Boy game, funny enough. As I said, I should have showed this 2 or 3 hauls ago, and I just kept forgetting. It's previously owned by, who is that, Curtis T, so Curtis, thank you very much. I actually ended up using a half-off coupon at Half Price Books, again 2 or 3 hauls ago, to get this. Completely forgot to show it off, and it's been sitting here in my office so I can finally show it to you all. But I ended up paying $15 for this, for Pokemon Red. So I'd say good deal, because again, these are games that hold their value pretty well. and anybody will buy them at pretty much any price point. But yeah, that is truly it that I could say. So anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off real this time. Later, everyone. And make sure this dog stays happy.